To show you again and again that experience with other people, apostles, I will read in the Act of the Apostles, chapter 8, the story of Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch. But an angel of the Lord said to Philip, Philip is one of the apostles, rise and go toward the south, to the road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. This is a desert road. And he rose and went, and behold, an Ethiopian, a eunuch of a minister of Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, in charge of all her treasure, had come to Jerusalem to worship. Remember, this is Easter. So here you have an Ethiopian Jewish. And was returning, seated in his chariot, and he was reading the prophet Isaiah. So he's reading all what is available for him as a Jew is the Old Testament, and of course it's one of the prophets, and he's reading Isaiah. But where in Isaiah? We will see that. And the Spirit said to Philip, go up and join this chariot. You see how the mission, God is inspiring the person to do something, to do this, to do that. He's not asking him to do something odd, so he's just, Philip does it. So Philip ran to him and heard him reading Isaiah the prophet and asked. So Philip is asking, you see, that's very interesting. How do you evangelize? It's very interesting. He's asking, it's not the Ethiopian who is asking, it's Philip. Do you understand what you are reading? And he said, how can I, unless someone guides me? And this is the mission of the fathers of the church. They guide us in order to learn how to read the scriptures. And he invited Philip to come up and sit with him in his chariot. Now the passage of scripture which he was reading was, and this is taken from Isaiah, the end of chapter 52 and the beginning, the first chunk of chapter 53. A very powerful text. In us, when we read it, we see Jesus' passion. But a normal Jew with the veil doesn't see Jesus' passion. So you see how the grace of God is already operating in you a transfiguration. You are living in a state of transfiguration. And you're not aware of it. You're not aware of the grace of God working in you. And I will show you. Very powerful description of Jesus. So I'm reading the end of chapter 52 in Isaiah. Behold, my servant shall prosper. He shall be exalted and lifted up, and shall be very high. As many were astonished at him. The disciples of Emmaus are astonished, surprised, but it will change because they are good, they are followers of Jesus. But others, his appearance was so marred beyond human semblance, and his form beyond that of the sons of men. So he's seeing Jesus in his passion. Isaiah is a few hundred years before Jesus. Prophetically, he is seeing Jesus' passion. So shall he startle many nations. Kings shall shut their mouths because of him. For that which has not been told them, they shall see, and that which they have not heard, they shall understand. Who has believed that what we have heard? It's difficult. It's like, how can you preach a crucified God? How can you say that this man who is so humiliated is the king? The paradox reaches its maximum during the Passion. This is why he says everybody is stunned, is surprised. And now he will start to describe what the cause of the surprise. Jesus is described now in his Passion. Who has believed what we have heard, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? The arm of the Lord means the power. Arm means the strength. So, to whom God reveals his power. And the paradox is here, that the passion of Jesus is the manifestation of the power of God. Paradox reaching its maximum here. How can you understand that if you're not Christian? If you don't receive the grace of God, it's impossible to buy that. Because this man is totally humiliated. And you say that God is revealing his power at that moment. You see the contradiction. This is why it's very difficult to read that text if you're not Christian. Now, let me continue. Now I'm well in 53, verse 2. For he grew up before him like a young plant, and like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or comeliness that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. Why? Because he's a lot of blood in the Passion. No, if you watch the movie, quite accurate, apparently, of the movie of the Passion, accurate to the facts, you see there is a lot of blood. It's horrible. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, struck down by God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. The connection now. The Passion, it's because of us. And who is wounding him? It's us. He was bruised for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that made us whole. And with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. So the eunuch, the Ethiopian, was reading that text. So he's reading loudly, and Philip hears the text and knows that this is about Jesus, but then takes the opportunity. This is the entrance door to talk to a Jew. This is the best text you can have in the Old Testament to talk about Jesus, because here it's really clear about Jesus, no? Not for us. But you need to be aware that what you see in this text, you see it because of the grace of God and because you are Christian. And you are already in the same experience of St. Paul, St. Philip and others, and you are living the experience of the fathers of the church. You are capable of seeing in an Old Testament text Jesus. It is transfiguration. The text is different. You will be amazed to discover how powerful is already the grace of God working in you. You could see Jesus' passion. You see what I'm trying to do? This is the moment that opens the mind of the Christian. This text is the cornerstone of the opening of the mind and the heart of a Christian. This is from where you start to enter in the Old Testament, because it's the most obvious, the easiest text that describes the Jesus himself, that presents Jesus himself. So you are indeed a witness of the transfiguration of the Old Testament, of the close of Jesus and his face. You now start to see him. You see him. See him. Open the text and read. This is transfiguration. Okay?